Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Session. Mels returns back to the show. Today we're going to be talking about customer objections, one of the most boring, tedious tasks that nearly no one, and I mean nearly no one, embarks on. They want hypnotic copy. They'll try and find the right keywords. They'll sit there for hours trying to find the right hack. But when it comes to customer objections, it's a step they skip. And the reason being, it's fucking boring. No one wants to do it. It's not sexy. And Mel has a rant about this. He goes nuts over this, but then he can get away with it because he's gone from 7 to 8 and at 1.9 figures in sales. So he knows a little bit about this stuff. So Mels, let's get you to drop to a bit of science, have a little rant. I love it because I kind of tweak you and then off you go. So customer objections, let's start there. Take it back to the beginning and white sample.
Yeah, okay. Customer objections. Yes, selling basically is psychological warfare, right? So you want to win the heart of your customer. That's basically what it is. And we live in this era of like everything, especially when it comes to Amazon or e-commerce, everything is driven by hacks and algorithms and it's PPC games, and it's like getting your keywords to the top, and that's making you the millions, right? So, but in fact, what you're trying to do is the only thing you do is still the psychological warfare, the psychological battle to win the heart of your consumer, but then in a digital environment, right? There's no difference than doing it face to face. Basically, the only thing is that people have a much shorter time span. So, in doing so, in trying to win the heart of your consumer, you bounce into objections that customers have, reasons to not buy you, and there might be gazillion reasons to not buy your product, right? And many listings they are aware of that in some way. So sometimes you see listings on Amazon, they list their products like, this product does not have XYZ. I'm like, okay, there's zero reason to mention in any sales conversation that your product does not have XYZ, unless the expectation of the consumer is that it has XYZ. Then the people realize it doesn't have that, and then they leave a bad review. So then you stumble upon some critical ingredients that your listing is missing. Well, the same thing may apply to objections that customers have. If you don't know them and you keep hammering on the doors, like a door-to-door salesman, like if you come to like in a very chic neighborhood where very expensive homes, and you're there like underdressed with an unshaven face, knocking on doors, trying to sell your stuff. I mean, you initially when you hit on 100 doors, probably you will sell something, right? But if you dress like the people there, and vice versa as well, if you go in like a poor neighborhood and you want to sell something, then dress like the people there, right? So you want to make friends, you want to meet them on their level, and then you get a lot of better, like more conversions. Well, and I always like when it comes to objection, I always think back to my early 20s when I was dropped out from school when I was 16 years old, and did go to work. I was laying carpets and stuff until I was 21, and then I started my own business. But before that, I was doing that in my my evening hours, and I made more money in the evenings than I did during the day back in the time, and that resulted me just like, wait, let me stop doing my job. But anyways, it was I was working for a phone company. It was direct sales in a phone company. So we sold mobile phone contracts and residential to residential people, and also like fixed line contracts where they would save money. And I did over like around 1,000. I did a contract as I signed myself. I had signed like and I the way it was always the same thing when like by let's say number 500, as soon as someone opened the door, I knew exactly what kind of person I had in front of me. I knew exactly what they were going to say, what their objections were, what the reasoning was behind it, just by simply looking at their face. Like there was, I didn't plan it out, but I had these people in buckets in my head. So I knew what kind of strategy I would need in order to convince those people or put them at ease. And they were sitting at like the most fun customers were the ones that were sitting at the door like, I'm not going to do this. Like, okay, what are you not going to do? I'm not going to do this. But, come in anyways, because this and this friend of mine sent you. So And then I came in and started chatting about like whatever was in their house, right? So sometimes it was like pictures on the wall of their kids or grandkids, and I was making friends with them, creating rebuilding rapport. And then like 30 45 minutes into the meeting, they were like, yeah, but you're here for a different reason, right? So then they came and then was like, yeah, but you don't want that, so we can just have a cup of coffee and then that's fine. No, I want to hear about it. And then that was teasing them like, okay, but well, you said you don't want to, so there's probably some reasons to not to, right? So what are your reasons? And then, yeah, because all the time when people come here, they try to lure me into something that I don't want or don't need, but you are different. You are different. So, and that point was super important for me. So you are different. So I was not different. I was doing the same thing as them. I was just making friends with them. So I was getting past their objections, right? The walls that were in their heart or in the objections that they had. I was moving around them until I came to the core. And when I came to the core, I had my conversation ready. I knew what kind of questions they would have in the end. I knew what kind of answers I could give. I had it all planned out perfectly. And then and I had a 98% plus score on like people. When as soon as I entered the door, 98% of the people, they signed the contract when I left. And I was super confident about that. But at the same time, I loved this process. So when I started selling on Amazon in 2014, it was super easy. You breathed into a listing and basically got sales. You bought positive reviews on Fiverr. I never did, but many people did, of course. But it was so easy to do. But then the algorithms changed, everything improved, and everything evolved. And now it was later that I realized, yeah, but this is still selling. It's still like winning the heart of your consumer. And we drove from keyword driven, competitive on products, competitive on features. We said no, we want to go into finding out what the customer objections are. And the best ones were the objections that nobody actually knew about, so my competitors didn't know about them. And those were fun. So if we found out that there's a specific reason for people to not buy a certain type of furniture for in their house, because there was something with floating shelves, and everybody was selling floating shelves, and everything said, yeah, it's easy to install, it's easy to install, it's easy to install. And what we started to do is like, hey, what if we just put like a manual, like a 1, 2, 3 step manual in there? Anything that has 3 or 4 steps is easy to understand, right? This IKEA style, like IKEA, everybody thinks like, yeah, but it looks so easy. It are these plain, simple images that makes it look easy. So we started making images like that, and suddenly people responded in the testing that we did, like, yeah, this is easy to install. This is easy to. It was not easier to install than others, but the objection was for them. What we found out that this product was hard to install. Why? Because everybody in the entire industry, they listed all the objects that were there, like all the screws and all the bolts and the things and the add-ons and the things. And there was like very large and extensive images with all this stuff in there. And it seemed to work. And the one that had the most of them worked, but it was only working for a specific group of people. So when we came in, we said, okay, but if it's simplicity, we should strip that all and we should focus on this is 1, 2, 3 steps, easy to install. And then we have on the pictures, we have like an 80-year-old person putting them on the wall, like literally showcasing on a conscious and subconscious level, like everyone can do this. If this 80-year-old woman can do that, and we added that in the video as well, if this 80-year-old woman can do it, you can do it too. Right. And then we found out that was taking away that massive objection. So those objections are key. And for other products, we have many others as well. And, the interesting part, like sometimes it's like adding like a little back. If you know that the objection is, hey, I don't know this brand, so this product is not good. Right. That's sometimes an objection. People only want to buy from like a known brand, or when it's pet products, for example, like, is this recommended by my vet or not? Right? They want to know that, right? But that's an objection they have in their mind, but it's sometimes it's not in their head, it's in their heart, right? So they're just not confident to buy, and it's super important to figure out like what is that underlying feeling that they have that result in a one-on-one conversation. It would lead to people like, yeah, I need to think about it, right? Any direct salesperson knows, okay, what do you do when someone else tells that? Like, I have to think about it. Okay, what do you have to think about? Like, what is it you have to think about? Because if the price is good, if you want the product, you are in need of the product, and you don't buy it, what do you need to think about? Nothing is going to change, right? And then after that, you help the customer to tap into their own heart and to discover this objection that they had. And it might be that the price is too high, or not confident that this is the best price out there, or that they are not confident that this is the right material for them, or but figuring that out and knowing. And then fast forward to e-commerce, knowing what percentages of your consumers have what kind of buying objections is essential. Because if you can focus on one particular objection and make a product that is so tailored to take that specific objection away, and that objection is for like 30% of the people buying this specific product, you can master and conquer and win in this 30% environment. Right, so you're not going for the entire market, but it's niche specific. So understanding objections, like customer buying objections, is super, super important. But yeah, I can keep on ranting.
Okay, so let me get into a bit of nuance, and then you can path correct me on this. So everything we just said now, everyone listening will go, yeah, I understand that. That's what we'll do. That's the objections. What new are you telling us? So let me give you a nuance that I see. So let's think someone's doing a bit of product research. They find a product that they like. What's the most common thing you do? You'll mine the reviews and you go, brilliant. I have loads of product objections. I'm going to build all of those objections or relieve those objections in my product to make it better. Right? Then they do that. They've done exactly the right thing. They've just missed a massive step. They've taken the objections of everyone else's products, but they haven't tested the objections of their own product they've just made off the back of everyone else's objections to make it better. So what they then do, they then go, I'm going to be clever. I'm going to test these images. Which of these two images do you prefer? And they go, I like this one better than this one. Then you go, my market research is done. I've met all the objections. I launched the product. What am I going to do? I'm going to run a load of PPC or whatever method that you are doing to create visibility and create rank. At no point have you got any objection on the product that you've just built, that better mousetrap, because you've just built it all off the other people's objections. So you launch it, right? And then months go past and you're still struggling, you're not getting the conversion rate. What you need to do is you need to find the objections of the product that you've just built first. So you go, okay, this is not working. I'm going to run an Amazon experiment on these images. So I'm going to try this image because I've decided this is my plan on how I'm going to test. I think we can make this image by doing what? And then where does your objections come from to build into that image for testing? You or your team. You have a discussion. How do we improve this image? You test that image and you've tested two images where you've come up with a better, or you think is a better design based on discussions you've had with your team. And then out of that, it reaches at some point statistical significance and it wins or it doesn't win. Okay. But you still not got customer objections. You've still not asked 100, 200, 300 people using any third-party platform, maybe, why would you not buy this product? Please specify why. That question hasn't been answered. So whilst you're doing the right things all the way through the process, you still have not found out the customer objection for your particular product that you built. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes. With one caveat, what you're saying is like, hey, with customer reviews, you can find the buying objections of other products, but there's two sides to that, because there's the post-purchase experience and there's the pre-purchase decision drivers, and those are two completely distinct things. And both help in finding buying objections, but sometimes, and we've seen a lot of listings like that where people, they take stuff from customer reviews of other listings, and then they improve that, and then they put it as a USPs on their listing, right? But one example, if you have, for example, like an insulated coffee mug, right? So and then in the customer reviews, you find out, okay, it leaks. Coffee was cold after 4 hours. There's grease in the lid, like stuff like that. And people, what is that? That's obvious expectations. People have obvious expectations that it is not cold after 4 hours, that it does not leak, obviously, and that the lid does not collect grease, or at least is easy to clean, right? So if you put in, so what you should put as USP, it stays long for 5 hours. Coffee stays warm for 5 hours. Or it
So what
doesn't.
you're saying is you need to meet just the bare minimum
Exactly that.
and treating it as an objection rather than a feature that is better.
It is.
Because they expect that already.
They expect it already. So where it is important for is for the product quality. Like, you cannot make product that doesn't meet these quality standards, because people complain about it in other listings, which shows me that they expected it to be correct. So at least you make a product that has that corrected, right? But when it comes to buying objections, they normally happen in the pre-purchase. It's a pre-purchase decision driver. Like, people don't buy because, right? And many times it's something that is in the subconscious mind of the consumer. They don't know. They just have a feeling. Right? So that's why they go to listings, not knowing what they're looking at, scrolling from one listing to another, to another, to another. By the end, they find a listing which feels good, which means that they subconsciously answer a question that they had proactively without them even asking. And then they have like, this feels good. And then if you drill down, like, why does it feel good? I don't know. It just feels good. We did a test once in a group, like 20 sellers were there, bigger sellers. And I asked them, like, all in the room. So, a product you recently bought on Amazon, tell me, which was the product? What was the product? And they came like, it was this product. Okay, great. So why did you buy this product? Well, it was good price, good reviews and stuff like that. So, okay, great. Take the price. So was that the only product for this specific price? No, it was not. Okay. Was it this only product with this amount of reviews? No, it was not. Okay. So why did you buy the product? Well, I can continue this for 5 minutes. That's how long it took. In the end, they came like out of desperation, like, I don't know, it just felt good, right? And that's the thing. So it felt good. But in the end, what does it, like, if you know the buying objections, right? If you know that there's like 2 very specific buying objections, something like, hey, this is not recommended by my veteran, or is this recommended by any professional in this game? Like someone hiking, some professional hiker using some outdoor gear, right? If that's something like, I'm not certain that this is the right product for me, right? If you can slay that fear or get past that objection, and there's another one as well that people have, and you can counter that objection as well. What will happen is that people that have are in this specific demographic that have these objections, they come to your listing, and you're the first listing actually addressing this element. There, and it's not happening here, right? It's subconscious happening on the heart level. They scroll to your images like, it feels good, yes. That feels good, yes. By 3 yeses, they buy. Look no further, buy your product, right? And if you ask them in the end, why did you buy this product? The only thing they can tell you is like, I don't know, it just felt good, right? But and there are specific ways of like harvesting this information, like what is holding you back? And you just mentioned it, like asking that specific question, why would you not buy this specific product or this product type, right? It doesn't have to be the specific product, can be the product type. Like if it's a silicon spatula, or like some stand for like a microphone on your desk, or why would you not buy this product? People come up with stuff like and it's sometimes because asking a question, ask and you shall what? You shall receive, right? It's a biblical verse, ask and you shall receive. If you do that with your subconscious mind, you ask a question to your subconscious mind. The weird thing is, all the time it comes up with an answer, right? I've learned that from Anthony Robbins once. He said, if people ask the question, like lousy questions, they ask like, why can I not lose weight? And then it's like, yeah, because you're a pig, right? That's what he's always saying. But that's the thing, right? And if you ask people consciously, like what is holding them back, many times if you do it to enough people, there's statistical significance. You can find patterns of what is holding people back to buy products like that. And then the next step is, and that's the process that starts, like then you have, okay, that's getting ideas. That's ideation phase. From ideation, you go to hypothesize. Write down your hypothesis, like, if I do this, I can slay that fear, or I can counter this objection. And then you go into testing mode to specifically test these objections. And then in the end, you go and to do some kind of split testing on your listings on Amazon or whatever. But that's the validation stage, right? So that's the process we always use. And And it's a tedious process, but it's super fun to do. I love this. Like anytime when we found this, and last year we launched the brand. We did this process like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and we said we just want to have one product in a very competitive niche, right? Where we can do this differently. And we did that, and we developed a product where we were able to actually slay that fears, like counter the objections, like two massive objections, both on the quality level, product level, but also on the communication level. And we said, okay, let's set a goal for this new brand. Like it's a single product, new brand. We want to go from 0 to 8 figures in 12 months time. It took us 13, but still, like that's a massive accomplishment. And it was in one of those categories where everybody says, any course you do, they say, don't go to this category because it's overcrowded. We sell 40% higher. No, we sell double from the. No, it's not double. It's 45% higher than the average market price with a brand new product, which looks premium, is premium, great product. And we are this number 2 in the category right now. We're going for bestseller in the next 3 to 6 months. So that's what's possible, right? So you no longer go into, I have to look into a category where there is still potential to win. Yeah, sure, but it's not on the level of competition. It's on the level of product quality versus can I win the heart of my consumer better than others? And then the next question is, can I do it? And does it have longevity, or is it something that others can copy quickly? And if the answer to the last question is no, to the others it's yes, then you have a home run and you can sell in whatever category you want, no matter how crowded it is over there, right? So yeah, that's just my extra rant about.
No, I also find that you need to gain and learn experience. Once you've gathered in that information, you need to read between the lines and be able to interpret it. So I had a conversation with someone the other day. We had a load of the information. We're going through it. When they read it, they didn't see many things that you could optimize for. When I read it, there was a shit ton in there. And what I explained to them, said, look, it's only because I've done this quite a bit. You get more and more experience with it. And then also, when you're looking at the insights and the feedback, some of the insights are really outstanding insights, and some are really boring, and you might not think that they are relevant, but they should go into the testing pool. Does that make sense? Because I think sometimes people struggle taking all the feedback and then put them into buckets of how you should interpret the data. Once you've interpreted the data, let's say it's for images, then you need to build a plan around what goes into the concept of this image if you're making changes to the second, third image or whatever. And there's that process there. And then you get into obviously the testing phase. But I think that also takes a little warming up in the skill set to interpret the data and determine what is worth it, what isn't worth it, what is really good to optimize for, what is boring but necessarily also. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Yes.
Seller, you have to work that out.
Yeah, and it's a trial and error process, right? So many times when you look at this, you come up with like 6, 7, sometimes 10 hypotheses, and nothing is crazy, right? You have to, as long as you can back it up by the data, and you have to get creative with the data to find those patterns. But then you cannot implement them all. You have to test them sometimes one by one. First, do your logical thinking, like, okay, which one might have a bigger impact? And then so it's always data, logic, and then coming up with ideas and test it. But as far as we've found, we never start with the image. The image is just an expression of, or it's a communication pattern, right? It's a means of communication. But the message that you have is most important. Like if based on the data you find some things, don't go craft like, okay, I can put this in my image or that in my image. No. What do you want to communicate? And then from what you want to communicate, then you say, okay, how can we do that then in visualization? But because also there is like a gazillion ways to do that. Like there's the conscious way and subconscious way. And there's one example. If you go to YouTube and you look for persuasion from Robert Cialdini, there's a great video about it. One of the examples and one of the videos that's written in the book, but in the video is like 30 minutes long. You find that they did a test once, and it was for an online furniture store. And they have two distinct backgrounds. One was with soft clouds in the back, and the other was with coins in the back. You know what happened? So they found out that the people that had these clouds in the back were more looking for softness in the furniture than others. And then if they put the coins in the back, people were much more triggered to look to the better prices, like money offs and coupons and stuff. That was, and in the end, they asked the people like, "Hey, did that influence you by any way? In any way?" They said, "No, of course not. I'm a rational being. Like, it didn't influence me at all." Right. So sometimes there's the conscious way of putting something in text, but much more subtle is doing it the subconscious way. If you want to and that's the whole marketing thing about colors, right? What kind of color settings you use in the background. Like another example is if you put, they did examples with people. If you want to have a certain emotion of connection to get across, you need to have a man and a woman still, and they have to slightly look to the same point, which is pointing there. If they look outside, that's the disconnect. Like, that's getting a feeling of disconnect. Sometimes you want that if you want to like throw some. Well, normally it's happening in politics and stuff. You want to share stuff, but if they look the same direction, but they don't look face to face with each other. They look to the same kind of direction, a point in distance.
In the distance,
that's giving them a feeling of connection. That's this kind of stuff. That's the psychological thing of winning the heart of your consumer. And you can, like, we have a mastermind where we go like crazy about this stuff. And there's books written about it. Like Robert Cialdini is doing great with it, persuasion. Then you have like breakthrough advertising from Eugene Schwartz. You have propaganda. There's a book from like the 1928, I guess it was written. It's so interesting, like how you can influence people without them knowing it. If you can throw that into it to communicate that specific message, you don't need to rub around like, I have to put in my text that this product is very sturdy and strong. There's many ways of actually expressing that, right? But doing it and then testing that out, like in and not just in split testing, but in contextually to the market. Like, hey, if I test this, what do I see in the answers? If I do this, what do I see in the answers? Hey, suddenly people say that it's more trustworthy. They have a high, like it's the people mention 50% more that it's trustworthy. And I didn't put the word trust on there. I just have this kind of a shield, certain form of a shield in two colors that actually people associate it with trust, right? So, and that helps a lot. So you can throw those things into to get that message across without actually changing a lot of things. But that's really next level content creation, and you need to have good people in your organization to do it. But even, I mean, I think if you look to Amazon, there's technically nobody doing it this way. So there's a lot of room for improvement. I believe, to circle back to like whatever algorithm stuff that we have had discussions about earlier, which were great fun. Algorithms get smarter and smarter. I believe that the next win, the next game, the next battle will happen in this area, right? And not only on Amazon, but also in social commerce. If you look to TikTok, there's so many people like, I want to do TikTok videos. And they go to content creators. We are working with content creators to educate them about this stuff. We still want to have the objections. We're teaching them like how to slay those objections consciously and subconsciously in videos and in scripts, right? So that's how we go about like doing stuff on TikTok, and that's where this next battle of the consumer heart.
So basically, for clarity, you take the influencer that would script for themselves generally, and then you're educating them on certain aspects that they need to get across in the video and the objections, whether met on a conscious or unconscious level.
Exactly, and
we help them provide to reach their audience through them, but giving them some additional skill sets that they can use on with other clients, you know.
True, and we also test that. Like, so we also have, we take those videos, put it into an audience of 150 people, and specifically ask questions about feelings and see how likely people are to buy a product, what their emotions is when looking at the video in the first 3 seconds, 8 seconds, 30 seconds. And that's how we go about it. So as soon as we found like a certain type of script or a certain way of saying things that then people had a higher trust score or a higher confidence level, or, it depends on the product types, but then we say, okay, this is the script we want to use. And then we serve that to the other brand, the brand ambassadors or content creators to say, hey, this is a great script, gonna go use this, right? So yeah. But it's still the selling. It's winning the heart of your consumer. So yeah, I don't understand that people don't think this is sexy. I think this is the most sexy element, like e-commerce and selling as a whole. But maybe, yeah. Maybe that's more like how we
I
are
mean,
wired.
everyone has different things. Some people are really good at marketing. Some people love building products. Some people love PPC, hate PPC. Some love ranking. Some don't. Do you understand? At the end of the day, if you look on any business, if you're a product-based business, the heartbeat of the business is product development and pipeline, and then everything comes off the back of that.
True.
You know, you can mess up a little bit. You can get away with, you know, undernourished marketing of some kind and then get an expert in to help you. But it's very hard to take an undernourished product to make that work as well. You're better off getting the product right, aren't you?
That's
Let's wrap here. Some key takeaways.
Wow. Do you asking me for taking a few key takeaways? Okay. Talk to consumers. Talk to anyone. Like go out of the door. Like one of the things that I'm thinking of, like take your product, go to a few friends or a gathering and just ask people some basic questions about your product. Like 99% of sellers never did that. Like never did that. I was 4 weeks ago. I was in a setting, 250 sellers. I asked like whoever talked to one of your customers, like 5 people in the room. 5 people in the room raise their hands. So I would say go out, take your product. Don't be shy. And go out on the street, ask people questions about your product. Like why would you not buy this? Do that. And if you want to have an easy way where you can go to tools like we have, which might help. But this is talking to people. And I know that there's one there was one book written, The Lean Startup, and it talks about
Eric Ries,
the building. Get out of the building. That's what they say, and that's the same thing I would advise. The single most important thing: get out of the building and start talking to people, because by real conversations, you will understand what the objections are. You will understand how consumers think, and that you need to fix, and that's what you need to communicate on your listing. Not looking to your competitors, because if everybody suck, you're just making dog shit wrapped in cat shit, and that's the bad stuff you don't want to do. Sorry for my language, but that's what I stole from another movie.
No, it's fine. So I'll be seeing you 3 weeks from today, actually. Seller Sessions Live, sold out now. In terms of tickets, what we do is we mark back tickets. If there's any become available, we have refunds come in, and then you just keep an eye on the website. But I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time. What is the best way that people can reach you?
Send me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can send me an email, mels@intellivi.net. Find me on Facebook. Those are basically the 3 ways of connecting with me.
Excellent. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Mels, thank you for joining us.
It was a blast.
If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you again next week. Take care of yourself and your family. Much love, and I'll see you then.